Hello, a very good afternoon to all our guests today, and welcome to our extremely topical webinar titled Fortifying Your Defenses: How Multi-Layered Security Can Stop Ransomware. My name's Tom, and I'm delighted to join you today as we take a closer look at ransomware. So this webinar is going to delve into the strategies, the best practices, and the technologies that form the foundation of multi-layered security. In this session, I'm going to empower you with the understanding and expertise required to combat ransomware effectively. If you can embrace a proactive mindset alongside a multi-layered security approach, you can shield your organization from the perils of this digital scourge, and you can forge a safer future for your business. So please get ready to embark on a journey that will equip you with the knowledge, the insight, and the practical steps necessary to fortify your defense against ransomware attacks. Join Faronics as we unlock the secrets of multi-layered security and emerge stronger, more resilient, and better prepared to safeguard our corporate environments. Welcome to Fortifying Your Defenses: How Multi-Layered Security Can Stop Ransomware. So let's begin. Today, as we're gathered here on the IT front line, we're very aware of the evolving threats that challenge our organizations. Ransomware is not a hypothetical scenario confined to isolated incidents. Instead, it poses a significant risk to corporations of all sizes and industries. The repercussions of an attack can be devastating. They can cause financial losses, reputational damage, and operational disruption that can cripple even the most powerful organizations. So, an important word in this context is resilience. The more resilient you are, the less likely you are to suffer an attack. So picture a scenario here where your critical data, your customer information, and your intellectual property become encrypted and inaccessible, held hostage by adversaries you can't see, you don't know. The ensuing chaos, the loss of confidential information, and the potential compromise of sensitive data are serious concerns that demand our immediate attention. Ransomware has been in the news a lot recently since COVID opened up new vulnerabilities. Lots of big and small companies being affected, and there's no moral compass at all on who may be affected. You can see there Ireland's entire health service was significantly disrupted. And ransomware often makes the news when a marquee firm falls victim, but it's happening all the time with lesser known businesses that don't make the news. So it's not a threat that can be ignored. Whoever you are, it's happening all the time. So just a few statistics on ransomware. 22% of organizations were attacked in the last 12 months, and 43% of those attacks were aimed at small businesses, but only 14% of small businesses are prepared for ransomware. So small businesses are often caught in this reactive firefighting mode rather than taking preventative measures. So they're struggling to maintain a layered defense because of smaller resources, and therefore an attractive target for ransomware. Small businesses face the same security risks as large businesses, but with far fewer resources to address them. The risks aren't any less serious. Small business data is not less sensitive. So small businesses need enterprise-level defense, but that doesn't need to be expensive, and nor do you need a high level of technical expertise to implement those layers of defense. The average ransomware payment this year is $812,000, but that's only the actual cost of the ransom. You can also lose your reputation. If there's one bad story, it can take way more than one good story to recover your public profile. And then there's also the cost to morale and the cost in terms of the time spent by your IT team recovering from the attack. So the most common method of entry is a Windows executable file. So that's really what you're mainly trying to block. So bearing in mind that quite terrible context I've set there, here's a couple of possible strategies you could adopt. And the first strategy is really much better than hoping that nothing bad happens. It really shouldn't take a lot of time and money to plan for the worst, but it can stop you getting completely wiped out. But the second strategy, unfortunately, is what a lot of people do, especially in smaller organizations. So if you imagine your environment like an onion, ransomware attackers are really trying to get to the center of that onion, where all the most sensitive and valuable business information is stored. So really the best way to stop them is to pile up as many layers as possible. This is really what we mean by layered security. If the attacker manages to get through one layer, then there's another layer in the way. And the more layers of security between your attacker and your data, the lower your risk. You want layers that neutralize the most common threats as much as possible to improve your overall resilience. As IT teams, we really have a responsibility to strengthen our defenses, to create multiple layers of protection that thwart attackers at every turn. So by implementing comprehensive security measures, we can mitigate that risk and ensure the resilience of our systems against these ever-evolving threats. So at Faronics, we remove a big headache for our customers. Ransomware is not really something that our customers spend time worrying about. And I'm going to show you how in a cloud console called Faronics Cloud Deep Freeze, which IT managers use to look after their devices. So it's a cloud platform, deepfreeze.com, and you can manage all your computers wherever they are from within the cloud platform. The first layer of protection is antivirus. So I can see all my computers here, and I can just select this computer and scan the computer. I can run an antivirus scan. So that simple step of an antivirus scan is just going to scan the device for possible security vulnerabilities in the operating system itself or in the software installed on the device. And we're talking about vulnerabilities that allow malware to infiltrate. So if you identify these, there's a simple step. That's just one simple step you can take to prevent infection. So that's the scanning option, but you can also select your devices and easily just turn on a firewall and enable active protection. So that's a very powerful layer of protection against ransomware. Second layer of protection is our module called anti-executable, which blocks executable files. Remember that a Windows executable file is the most common method of entry, and you can just, under this policy control list, you can add and remove files that you want to allow or block in your environment. And you also have this ransomware prevention tab where you can just tick that enable ransomware prevention, which is going to block a whole massive list of known ransomware. And then you're going to be able to report on how this what's happening in the anti-executable module, in the anti-executable activity report. You can see all activity. You can easily export this report and filter by date. And you can also report on blocked programs, computers with violations, additions to local control list report, and additions to central control list. So the anti-executable module, in conjunction with the antivirus module, are going to block a large proportion of ransomware attackers. The third layer of protection is software updates. So software manufacturers are patching up their software all the time. They're releasing updates all the time. Obviously, there's new feature updates as well, but one of the most important purposes of software updates is to close security vulnerabilities. So you don't want, for example, when Google release an update to Chrome with an important security fix, you don't want to wait months for that update to go live in your environment. You want to know that it's going to be implemented very soon. So here on in the policy page, there's a long list of common applications, and you can just select the applications that you want to keep up to date and schedule a maintenance period. So you could say between midnight and 1 o'clock on a Friday morning, all that software is going to be kept up to date, because the software updates are going to deliver to my computers. No disruption is needed, no downtime at all, and I don't even have to worry about it anymore. It's just going to happen out of hours when I'm asleep, and that security window is closed. You can also, if you want, you can do it on demand. If you prefer not to schedule your software updates, you can easily see for all your software what version is running on which computers. And I can see I've got some out-of-date software there in the orange color, so I can just select that and update it from here. And I can also uninstall and install from here. And if I have custom apps that didn't appear on the prepackaged list, then I can easily manage them from the cloud platform. So it's a very user-friendly way of shutting that security window and not letting ransomware attackers exploit your out-of-date software. And the same for Windows updates. So you can deliver your Windows updates out of production hours. You can say whether you want to always install critical security updates, whether you want to have an approval stage for each category of updates. You've got lots of options around how you deliver those Windows updates in the best way for your organization. And again, you can just schedule a maintenance period, and that doesn't need to disrupt your users at all. Microsoft are patching up all the time. They've got whole teams of people identifying ransomware and patching up, securing Windows against ransomware. So you don't want that delay. When Microsoft identify a problem and they fix it, you want that fix to be live straight away. So then we've got a fifth layer of security, which is kiosk mode. This is most useful for public-facing environments, for example, libraries or call centers, BPOs, anywhere where you've got lots of users using the same device, coming and going, maybe high staff turnover. You want to lock down that workstation. So you you can customize the header, the footer, the body. You can basically say, I'm going to allow my users to access these web links, these applications, and no more. So that is a very powerful layer of security, because you're limiting the extent to which ransomware can get through. So those are 5 layers of security, and then underneath those 5 layers of security is the most powerful layer of security of all, which is called deep freeze. Deep freeze is a reboot to restore solution. So if I select that machine and I restart it, it will restart in its original state. So any bad thing on that computer will disappear with a restart. So if I have a ransomware attack that has made it through those first 5 layers of security, which is extremely unlikely, but if I've got an attacker who has penetrated them, then a restart will clean out the infection. It's all you need to do. Deep freeze is totally unique to Faronics. There's no one else that does it, and it will recover your system from any threat. And you don't need to be physically present. I can do it from wherever I am. I don't have to be next to the workstation, and I can just, suppose I had a widespread attack, I could select all my computers and restart them all, and I have recovered from that attack. And I'm not spending months recovering, and even then never really knowing whether I have eliminated all the malicious code. You can just get rid of all the malicious code on a restart. And I'm also, within Faronics Cloud Deep Freeze, I'm always going to know what's going on because of the alerts. So here on the alerts settings, I can say whether I want an alert here through the Cloud Console, or maybe I want an email, or maybe I want a push notification to my phone through the app, or maybe all 3, for all these security events. So like if I have a virus detected, if I want to know immediately on my phone if there's a virus, then I can get that alert. So lots of antivirus alerts. And then I've also got anti-executable alerts. So if that layer of security is looking threatened, I've got these alerts. Like if a protected computer has a certain number of violations in a day, I want to be alerted immediately. And then with deep freeze, if I have a computer that's thawed for more than a certain number of hours, I can get an alert for that. And then the Windows updates layer of security. So, for example, if I have a new patch pending approval, if I don't want to delay that, I want, say, an email for that, I can get notified straight away. Or if I've got a vulnerable security status. So all these alerts together, you can configure so that you can set up these layers of security to protect you. But if you want to know immediately if there's any threat, then you can find out straight away. So I'm just going to recap these layers of protection. The more layers of protection you can pile up, the better. And obviously, the first thing an attacker wants to do is, if an attacker gains entry, is the first thing I want to do is turn off all your security controls. So antivirus is the first layer of protection, but we have lots of other layers, because if a hacker gains entry, then they may turn off antivirus, for example. It'll probably be the first thing they do. So that's why we want multi-layered security. So the first layer stops all the obvious bad stuff, and antivirus often, in some companies is running, but the definitions aren't up to date, and especially a problem that applies more to small and mid-sized customers, maybe lagging behind some of the larger companies, leaving customers vulnerable. So Faronics antivirus works on a live basis, so you're always going to be up to date. But if you've got something that makes it through that layer, then they're up against the second layer, Faronics anti-executable, which is a really strong whitelisting tool. So you're only allowing approved programs through, and you're going to stop everything else like targeted attacks, zero-day threats, and mutated viruses. The third layer of protection is software updates. So having an application installed does not guarantee it will be kept up to date. So software updater allows you to schedule your software updates to go live almost as soon as they're ready without disrupting any users. Fourth layer of protection is Windows updates. So a typical corporate environment will contain a massive variation in builds and patches. It's often very messy and complex. It's hard to manage, so it's risky. The average enterprise device is 2 months behind on Windows patching. So you can simplify all that, and you can keep everything centralized and consistent, and you can close that window to ransomware attackers. Kiosk mode allows you to limit your risk. You can lock down your desktop, normally most useful in public-facing situations like schools or libraries. And if any attack makes it through the first 5 layers, they'll arrive at the final and most powerful layer, deep freeze. Deep freeze is basically a powerful reset button. If you press it, deep freeze will eliminate anything bad forever and restore your computer back to its original state in seconds. Deep freeze makes your devices extremely resilient. Whatever a hacker does, you can recover. So many of our customers reported to us that ransomware is stopped now. And as our customer, Greg, says here, layered security is a no-brainer. You don't want to be relying on one line of defense. You need more than one layer. And just a couple of other quotes about anti-executable, deep freeze, and antivirus. They're very strong and successful products that have done very well all around the world. A lot of happy customers have been with us a long time. Since 1996, in fact, we've sold more than 12 million licenses in more than 150 countries, and we have over 33,000 customers around the world. Our headquarters are in Vancouver, and we also have offices in the UK, which is where I am, and in the USA and Singapore. And there's going to be a lot of partners around the world who work with us. So if you're not near any of those 4 offices, then don't worry. We've got a load of really fantastic partners who work with us to provide really strong service. So if you're not sure who your local partner may be, then just let us know. We can tell you who to get in touch with. So we use the phrase "one platform, total control." We use that because we do allow total control of what is going on in your environment. It's an easy to use web-based console. When you're managing your workstations, you've got everything in one place from a security point of view, but also from lots of other points of view, from an efficiency point of view, from a hardware degradation point of view, from an inventory management point of view. We make everything easy. And we offer a free trial that you can sign up to from our website. So you can test this out for yourself in your environment, test out the layers of security. When you sign up for the trial, you just need to, if you go to faronics.com, you'll be able to sign up for the free trial. And then you just need to install the set up your policy, the policy interface that I showed you, choose your layers of security, set them up. Then you would just need to put the Faronics Cloud Deep Freeze agent on the computers. So once that cloud agent is there, then those computers will report to the Cloud Console, and you'll be able to manage them from the clouds, and then you're basically ready to go. So I'm just going to leave a QR code on screen in case you would like a more detailed demo. We only need to take up 15 minutes of your time, but we'll happily talk about your specific situation and how we can help you with the particular threats that you might be facing. But just to summarize today's session, you really can achieve peace of mind. Ransomware is scary, but with our 6 layers of security, you can basically automate your protection and spend your time on something more productive. So thank you. If you, I can see a question in the Q&A. If you have any more questions, please pop them in the Q&A. So the question there, do you need different licenses for the different layers of protection? So no, so our products are available in packages. So no, you wouldn't need different licenses for all the 6 layers of protection. You can manage everything with one license, and we license on a per computer basis. Okay, just going to pause just in case we have any other questions. Okay, thank you very much for your time today, and have a lovely day, and best of luck in the ongoing fight against ransomware. Bye-bye.